Welcome back to another explainer. So, have you ever actually had a gut feeling about something? Or maybe felt butterflies in your stomach before a big moment? Well, today we are taking some seriously complex biological research and proving that those aren't just cute metaphors. We're going to dive right into the secret command center that's pulling the strings of your mind. You might think your brain is the sole captain of the ship up there, but there is actually a massive, hidden ecosystem inside you that's constantly driving your mood, your focus, and even your daily stress levels. 90%. Just let that sink in for a second. That massive number represents the amount of your body's serotonin that is actually synthesized in your gut, not your brain. Now, serotonin is that absolutely crucial mood-regulating neurotransmitter we always associate with mental well-being and happiness, right? To think that 90% of it is produced way down in your digestive tract by microscopic bacteria, that completely flips how we need to think about mental health and human biology. So, to keep us on track through all this dense biochemistry, here is our roadmap for today. We'll start by meeting your second brain, travel down the gut-brain highway, connect microbes to mental health, map out the stress and immune loop, and finally, learn exactly how to heal with psychobiotics. Let's get right into it. Starting off with Section 1, meet your second brain, the gut microbiome. Deep down inside your gastrointestinal tract, you literally have trillions of microorganisms acting as this incredible, semi-independent second brain. Now, the absolute key to keeping this whole ecosystem happy is avoiding something called dysbiosis. You see, a healthy microbiome thrives on diversity and balance, but when things fall out of whack, whether that's from a poor diet, heavy stress, or certain medications, it triggers a dangerous cascade. This disruption, this dysbiosis, basically compromises your intestinal barrier and fires off systemic immune alarms. That leads directly to neuroinflammation and oxidative stress up in your brain. It is very often the biological root cause of a mind-gut disconnect. Moving right along to Section 2, the gut-brain highway, where we'll look at bidirectional signaling. Right at the core of this entire network is the vagus nerve. You can really think of this like a high-speed fiber optic cable running straight from your gut all the way up into your brain. And the wildest part? It is a bidirectional highway. That means it doesn't just send commands down from your brain to control digestion. It actually allows microbial signals to travel up and directly influence your central nervous system, shaping your neural activity, your emotional regulation, and even your cognitive function in real time. These tiny microbial factories are literally pumping out the exact chemicals your brain relies on every single day. Take strains like lactobacillus, for example. They actively support serotonin production. Then you have dopamine, which is absolutely crucial for motivation and reward. Well, its precursors are manufactured by E. coli and Enterococcus. And finally, GABA, the brain's primary calming neurotransmitter that keeps your anxiety in check, is synthesized by strains like Bifidobacterium dentium. Your daily mood is quite literally being manufactured by these microscopic workers. Which brings us to Section 3, microbes and mental health, and what happens when the system glitches. When we map out these system glitches, it's pretty staggering. We see distinct mental health conditions correlating directly to very specific bacterial imbalances. For instance, with depression and anxiety, there's a noticeable drop in beneficial strains like lactobacillus, and that leads directly to serotonin dysregulation and a pro-inflammatory state known as leaky gut. In schizophrenia, an increase in pro-inflammatory bacteria triggers neuroinflammation and totally scrambles dopamine signaling. And with autism spectrum disorder, researchers note decreased diversity and a bump in Clostridia species, which correlates with altered GABA and serotonin pathways. It's fascinating how clearly these microbial changes align with the core mechanisms of these complex conditions. Now, a real game changer in preventing those conditions involves short-chain fatty acids, or SCFAs. You know that dietary fiber on your plate? It's not just there for digestion, it is literally fuel. Your gut bacteria ferment that dietary fiber and convert it into these SCFAs. What's truly amazing here is that these SCFAs can travel up to your brain, cross the blood-brain barrier, and actually help maintain its protective integrity. They act like this elite microbial defense team, building a protective fortress around your brain to actively reduce neuroinflammation. Let's pivot to Section 4, stress and the immune loop, specifically looking at the HPA axis cascade. This cascade shows us exactly, step by step, how everyday psychological stress turns into actual physical damage. Step 1, prolonged chronic stress kicks the whole system into gear.
Step 2, that leads to elevated exposure to cortisol, your main stress hormone. Step 3 is where the gut takes a massive hit. That high cortisol literally damages your intestinal barrier, causing that leaky gut we mentioned earlier. And finally, step 4. Because the barrier is now compromised, bacterial toxins leak straight into your bloodstream, setting off massive systemic alarms and causing heavy neuroinflammation in your brain. So your psychological stress is quite literally degrading your gut's structural integrity, which then loops right back around to cause even more mental distress.
So, with all this undeniable evidence linking things like dysbiosis and leaky gut to serious mental health struggles, it naturally brings up the absolute most important question of this entire explainer. Can we actually fix our flora to heal our minds? And that leads us to our final stop, Section 5, Healing with Psychobiotics Through Targeted Therapies. The short, thrilling answer is yes, absolutely. We can intervene, and honestly, a lot of that power is sitting right there on your dinner plate. Take the standard Western diet, for example. It's loaded with saturated fats and refined sugars. It actively reduces your microbial diversity and promotes those nasty pro-inflammatory bacteria. In stark contrast, you've got the Mediterranean diet, which is packed with high fiber, polyphenols, and omega-3s. Swapping out those refined sugars for the fiber and fermented foods of a Mediterranean diet is a direct, incredibly actionable way to fuel those beneficial, SCFA-producing, brain-boosting bacteria. It's basically the ultimate defense against intestinal inflammation. But it goes beyond just general diet. Science is getting incredibly specific right now with something called psychobiotics. Researchers are actually isolating specific strains of live beneficial bacteria that can essentially act as natural mood stabilizers. When you ingest these targeted psychobiotics, they get right to work on the gut-brain axis to regulate your stress hormones, give a boost to your GABA and serotonin levels, and actively reduce neuroinflammation. We are entering an absolute new era of precision mental health nutrition. Now, here's the catch. While we're looking at introducing all these amazing new beneficial bacteria, we absolutely have to fiercely protect the flora we already have. The data comes with a massive warning about the antibiotic threat. The misuse and overuse of antibiotics, especially during those really critical developmental windows in early childhood, acts like a wildfire in your gut ecosystem. It just wipes out the good right along with the bad. And studies show that this severe disruption carries massive long-term psychiatric risks, significantly increasing the likelihood of developing depression, anxiety, and even cognitive decline much later in life. As we wrap things up today, I really want to leave you with this powerful thought, straight from the researchers. They state that understanding these host-microbe interactions might actually catalyze a paradigm shift in psychiatric treatment, paving the way for personalized, microbiome-based therapeutics. Just think about that for a second. What if the future of mental health treatment isn't just sitting in a therapist's chair or relying solely on traditional brain-targeted medication, but instead lies in healing the microscopic world living right inside your gut? It's an unbelievably fascinating frontier. Keep feeding your good bacteria, take care of your second brain, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.